All right, everybody, we've got Coach Bobo here. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. First is Tom Green.
Hey, Mike. Coach Harshman talked about how, you two will be kind of, meshing your offenses together to build new offense at Auburn here this season. Just what's that process been like for you guys, and just how's it going so far?
Well, I think anytime you come together and you're trying to build something new, that's the fun part, in my opinion. If you came in, you just threw something down. You don't get to collaborate, not just me with Coach Harson, but with the whole staff. We're able to get a lot of ideas about what direction we want to go, and it's going to be a fluid process because we're still trying to figure out the players that we have here, the talent that we have offensively at Auburn, and the things that we're going to be able to do. So I think it's not something that we definitely haven't been able to nail down in 3 days. It's going to be ongoing, through spring ball. But we're going to throw a lot at these guys of what we want to do. But we'll kind of hone down of what we're going to be as we get toward the end of spring and definitely heading into summer.
Mark Murphy.
Yes, Coach. When you're finished with spring practice, what do you want to have accomplished? What are going to be the big things in your mind? And then specifically, how hard is it to teach shotgun quarterbacks how to line up behind center? Because they don't do a lot of that in high school anymore.
No, they don't. Not a lot of guys have done a lot. Bo Nix hasn't. I don't know if he's taken 10 snaps under center in his career, but knock on wood, he's probably been the best at handling the center quarterback, and he's done good a job at that. We're not going to be primarily under center. We're not going to be primarily in the gun. We want to have a good mixture of both, and it's not that difficult. You see guys going from college to the NFL all the time that may have been in gun their whole life and go to the NFL and they've got to get under center. That's just what it's going to be. Something that's part of the Auburn offense is that we'll get under center, and those guys are going to have to learn how to do it. And they're athletic kids. You're basically doing a drop and executing a footwork under center that similar to what you did out of the gun. It's not that different. You might add some more steps to it because you're under center. So I don't see it being a big deal. It hasn't been a big deal. Now we've had some center quarterback issues, but that's always happens in spring ball, especially when you can't practice before spring ball starts, and the first time they take center quarterback exchange is when you go practice.
David,
And then,
go ahead, Mark.
just at the end of spring practice, what would you like to have accomplished with the offenses in general?
Well, we'd like to throw a lot of stuff at these guys. Try to get as much as Coach likes to use the words DNA, our base offense, what we think our base offense might be. So they're familiar with some of that stuff. We're not going to be perfect at all that, but we're introducing schemes in the run game and the pass game. Through spring, introducing a lot of stuff, and then the standard of how we want to go about how. And you got to accomplish that in how we practice, and little things of how you run on the field, how you take the ball, how you shift, how you motion, how we play the game. Those things I think we can accomplish through spring as the effort and how we play. But the main thing schematically is just introducing a lot of schemes to these guys in spring ball, so we'll have a lot of carryover going into summer and fall camp.
David Pascal.
Hey, Mike. David Pascal, Chattanooga. Good to see you again. When I covered you at Georgia, you could play with tempo whenever you wanted those last few years there. But you do have elements to your game, like putting the quarterback under center. You always like having a productive fullback. When you look around at other offensive coordinators, do you kind of view yourself as kind of an old school coordinator and things that you like to get done?
I guess if getting under center is old school, I guess I'd be considered old school. I think, somebody told me one time, you got to let them know you're at the ballpark. And sometimes there's not a better way to do that is to get under center and run power at you. That's what, we want to be. We want to have a physical run game. And I think you can be a lot more physical sometimes when you're under center. But we're going to have elements of spread. We're going to have elements of under center. We're going to have elements of two tight ends. We're going to have elements of fullback. We want to be able to do everything. We don't want to be just under center. We don't want to be just spread. We want to be a wide open pro style offense.
Thanks.
Jordan Hill?
Yeah, Mike, Jordan Hill, looked like the Auburn News. Looking at the quarterbacks you have coached over the years, outside of maybe a guy like DJ Shockley, Bo's probably one of the more athletic guys. What do you see his athleticism and just his skill set overall, what it can bring to this offense?
I've been very impressed with Bo Nix since I've been here. In whenever I got here, I can't remember the exact date. The first of the year, just his work ethic, number one, in the off season, conditioning, the weight program, and the stuff we did with Coach Pitt and the strength staff, and how hard he works. And quarterbacks usually they work hard when they're out there. They're one of the hardest workers on the team. But he has an athletic skill set where he competes with the skill guys on our football team, and it's very, very impressive. His athletic skill set. We've had 3 practices and has shown up a couple times, but he's a guy that is going to make plays naturally because of his skill set when things break down. Then have an element where you design stuff for him. 2, in your offense where he might be able to threaten the defense with some quarterback run game, but the ability to when to throw the ball downfield and when things are covered to pull it down and run, I think is an added dimension that I think defensive coordinators. You talk to any defensive coordinator, is that quarterback that can pull the ball down and run when you've got everybody covered, and that's just I think it's a bonus for Auburn offense. And Bo's been focused on him, controlling what he can control, and that's cleaning up his footwork. It's trying to make the right progressions and throwing the ball on time. And letting his athletic ability take over just off of instinct, not necessarily looking to run. And been really proud of how he's worked and how he's progressed. And we've only had 3 practices, but I could truly say I think he's come in every day and tried to get a little bit better every single day, and I expect the same thing today from him.
Bill Cameron?
Coach Bill Cameron with the Drive on ESPN 106.7 here in town. Talk about your receivers. I know you don't have all of them out there, but a few of them looked like they made some nice plays on Saturday. Just what do you think about what you've seen through the first few days?
Well, like any other position, we're a work in progress right now with day 3 and a new scheme, and there's a lot of mistakes that are happening every day. But I will say this about the receivers: they've come out and improved every day and tried to work hard. There's little things that we've got to clean up, but we've got some size at that position with Elijah Cannon and Kobe Hudson. They're bigger guys. Javar Johnson, number 6, has impressed the first couple of days. His ability to come off the ball, and he's made some big plays in practice 2 and practice 3. The thing we got to look for those guys is a continued improvement from them. The thing when you do get in some 12 personnel, you're going to get more single high coverage and stuff like that. And when you do have a quarterback that can run the ball, you're going to get more. You might get a little bit more single high coverage, and that gives them one-on-one opportunities. But I think playing faster is one thing that we got to do, and I think that will happen. The more practice we get in, the more they understand what we're trying to do.
Nathan King?
Hey, Mike. Going back to your time at Georgia and just the experience that you've had, having a good freshman player like Tank Bigsby was last year, I guess just what's the process like, and how do you go about trying to get him to continue to grow and develop into an even better player after he had so much success in just his first year?
Well, I think it's the expectations that you put on the player, and that expectation doesn't change of what you got to do on a daily basis, whether you had success the play before, the game before, the year before, and you're constantly trying to push them to where they get better. And the thing I'll say about Tank, he's a guy that similar to Bo Nix, is he's constantly calling every day. He's FaceTiming. He's wanting to know about certain run schemes, about protection. He's wanting to know about plays that we have in, how he can get better. He is not, I would not say he's complacent at all. He doesn't think he's arrived. And that's our job as coaches, to continue to push guys. But the great ones have it in them. They always want to get better. They always want to push themselves, and Tank has that in him, and that makes your job a lot easier when guys like Tank are hungry to get better. I mean, I was over here yesterday scripting for today's practice, and he's coming over here to see Coach Cadillac, to talk some ball. Just showing up in his office to make sure he's on the same page. He's calling Coach Friend. He's calling Coach Harsin. He's calling me. He's serious about wanting to be the best player he can be, not just for himself but for Auburn.
Brian Matthews.
Hi, Mike. Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, part of the Rivals Network. Wanted to ask you about your situation at the two tackle positions. How do you see it so far? Is that an area that feel like you need to improve as spring practice goes on?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an area. Again, we've only had 3 days. We're throwing a lot at these guys, from run game to pass game, and there's some definitely things that we need to work on. We need to clean up some of our sets, in the pass game. But we need some competition at the tackle position. Jackson and Ham are working with the ones right now, and then you've got Trotter and 55. My names right now, I'm getting them. I'm knowing them by what's 55's name there, Kirk? Right tackle. What's it? Say? Coffee. Yeah, Coffee. Then you got Zerline, the kid. So we've got some guys that got some length, but we've got to, it's getting the guys to do the little things right. And I don't think we're in a position right now to say, hey, we've got competition right there, because they're all trying to figure out, right from left right now, and the pass sets that Coach Friend want. But ultimately, we want to create some competition and have a competition at that tackle position. But, they got to be able to protect at the tackle position first and foremost, and that's something that we'll be working on hard this spring.
Gianna Hahn.
Hi, Gianna Hunt from AL.com. Going back to your very first question that you got about you working with Harsin, I was wondering, what are some of the new things that you've learned from working with him and working with another guy who has been offensive coordinator, has worked with quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, there's a lot that is similar. When you sit down and you talk about, things from, how you do your individual drills to how, you're progressing certain route concepts to run game. There's a lot more similar than guys think, but there's a lot of nuances of things that he might have taught a little bit different that, I say, hey, that's a little bit better idea. And it might sometimes be the way that he phrases it to get it over to present it to the quarterbacks or present it to the offense. That's a little bit different. Then it might be something that, I've done in my past that's maybe a little bit different, that sounds a little bit better. So that's kind of what we're working through right now. The big thing is we want to be on the same page with everything. We don't need two different things told to the quarterback or the offense. We might be saying the same thing, but saying it 2 different ways. That's the thing we're working on right now, that we're speaking the same language. The thing that I'd say, is from Coach Harsin, the detailed and, how you get ready for your meetings and the preparation for your meetings and having prepared for your quarterbacks. And I've always considered myself a pretty detailed guy in the meetings. The presentations of how he presents things in meetings is something that I've learned, and I think I've improved in that area the short time I've been here with Coach Harsin.
Phil Marshall.